Yo, what is going on, guys? I bring to you the Asus Strix RTX 4090. I just picked this up at Micro Center in Westmont, Illinois, and I was basically the second person to get inside the building to get the card. And a lot of people wanted the Strix model, and I was luckily the second person able to get one. I came in at 6 a.m. this morning, and this is the card. So, of course, this features the new 12-pin slash 16-pin power connector. And this is basically the top of the line model with the 500 watt power limit. And I think it's a quad slot card. At least that's what I was told. And then of course for I/O we have 2 HDMI and 3 display ports. It's a massive card. It's very, very heavy. I'm gonna assume it's maybe 1.5 pounds, maybe heavier, maybe 2 pounds, but very heavy, massive card. And I'm going to be installing this in my i9 12900KS rig with MSI Z690 Unify motherboard, and we will overclock the CPU to 5.3 GHz all-core overclock, and we'll try to overclock this to 3000 megahertz, which is unheard of, but that's the new thing today with Lovelace. You're able to get to 3000 megahertz. So we'll get this installed. And then, of course, unfortunately, I have to currently use this horrible octopus connector connection. I do have a MSI 1300 watt power supply, platinum rated, and tomorrow or maybe Friday I'll probably get the 12-pin adapter, which I just recently put an order for online, because basically you get a free one if you just recently purchased one of these GPUs and the power supply. So we'll get this installed, we'll set up RGB, and then we'll do the overclocks, and then we'll see how it looks installed with a custom RGB, and we'll take things from there. So RTX 4090 Asus Strix. Let's get it installed, and let's take it from there. Okay guys, I got the Asus Strix RTX 4090 installed, and I got the RGB customized to blue to match the rest of my rig. And the rig, well, first I'll start with the case, is a Corsair Obsidian 1000D. It's a super tower case with lots of fans. These are all intake fans. I'm running a 420 millimeter radiator, Corsair H170i E-Lite LCD. So with the 420 millimeter radiator, motherboard is MSI Unify Z690. CPU is Intel i9 12900KS, and then memory running 2 16 gigabytes, so 32 gigabytes of G.Skill Trident Z DDR5 RAM with some pretty low timings for DDR5. I can't remember the exact timings, but they're pretty low. And then powering all this is a Seasonic 1300 watt platinum rated power supply, and I'm currently using these adapters, but they are going to be sending me the 12-pin slash PCI 3.0 whatever it's called power connector, which will just use 2 of these 8 pins, and then in the future I'll get an actual realistic power supply that actually just features the direct cable connection. Now, one thing I do want to mention is installing this, even this in this huge case, was a pain in the butt, because on the I/O to put the screws there, it was such a tight clearance. So it was probably the longest part of installing the card was just getting those screws in. Besides that, everything was good to go. This connector was a little bit hard to get in all the way, and I just want to also note that when you are hooking up the power connectors, the LED will stay red. Now, previously on Asus Strix cards, when it was red, that means your power supply wasn't powering the card. So I was like fiddling with the connector, but I guess that's just how it is, because you just have this one power connector with these 8 pins. So maybe if you have a direct connection, it won't show that red LED. Okay, so I'm running Windows 11 with all the updates. The Asus Strix RTX 4090 is running the latest NVIDIA driver, which is version 522.25, just released today. And then the i9 1200KS, I have it running at a 5.3 GHz all-core overclock, and the E-cores overclocked to 4300 megahertz. And then the memory which I just talked about, is 32 gigabytes of G.Skill memory, and then there's the timings right there. And then I already did a quick overclock. I got the GPU set to 2375, memory 1450, and boost 2750. Now, when I'm gaming and testing, I'm sure it's going to get up to 3000 megahertz, which is unheard of on previous NVIDIA graphics cards. So first thing we'll do is time spy, 3D mark, and then we'll do port royal. So stay tuned. We'll get the the benchmark started, and then we'll show the card and see if there's any coil whine and fan noise and temperatures. So stay tuned. Oh, and I forgot to mention, with MSI Afterburner, this is the setting I use. So power limit I raised to 120, and core clock additional 140 megahertz, and memory additional 1100 megahertz. Fan, I'm just gonna leave it auto, and power limit, like I said, is at 120, which is as high as it goes. So we'll see where it goes in terms of wattage. So stay tuned. Okay guys, currently running time spy almost at 3000 megahertz, but you know, close enough, 2955. It was a little bit higher a little bit earlier. But in terms of coil whine, zero coil whine, not even the slightest bit of sound from the card. Fan is at auto. And of course I am running a Seasonic 1300 watt platinum power supply, which I'm sure helps in terms of coil whine noise. But here's the stats. So the GPU is running nice and cool, 59 degrees Celsius. Wattage, 390. i9 12900 KS running fairly low because it's not really full load when you're doing this benchmark. But we'll see how the other tests go, and then we'll show you the results. So I'll come back. Okay, so running the second test in time spy. It's just amazing to see that kind of GPU clock speed. I mean, almost 3000 megahertz. That's unheard of. Like before, that would require like LN2 or some kind of extreme cooling, but that's amazing. And again, the card is as silent as can be, not even the slightest bit of coil whine. Fans are nice and quiet. Let's see if I can show them running. Of course, the fan is at auto, which I already mentioned. But it's definitely a nice, quiet, solid card. It's too bad the RTX logo doesn't light up. But that's the RGB on it. I'm not sure if there's anything on the other side, which I'm having trouble seeing. But so that's where the temperatures are. 58C, which is absolutely phenomenal for a card of this caliber. Pulling about that kind of wattage, so I guess it varies. I heard that these cards do actually pull less wattage than, say, the 3090 Ti, which I had previously, so that's definitely helpful thanks to the lower nanometer process that NVIDIA used. I'll quickly show the CPU temperature and time spy of the CPU test. So this is i9 12900 KS under load, 71C, and then let's see the score. Dun, 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 dun. 32,956. Graphics score at 37,144. Holy cow! And CPU score at 20,110. I have to update 3D Mark. I just recently did a reinstall of Windows when I installed this. I installed two new SSDs, Western Digital SN850X and RAID 0, and I guess I didn't update 3D Mark, but those are the results. So very good. So next we'll do Port Royal. Okay, got Port Royal loading up. I wanted to show it before it loads just to show you the clock speed it starts out at when it first starts the benchmark. So just bear with me as it loads, and we'll see if it hits 3000 megahertz in Port Royal. Now, Port Royal is a longer test, so it's going to basically show better load temperatures, or it's going to show higher load temperatures. So it still seems like I'm at 2955, so not quite 3000 megahertz. So maybe a little bit more core overclock to get me to 3000 megahertz. But I'm just going to keep it over here on this screen to show you the load temperatures. And again, the card, dead silent, no noise. Fans, I can't even hear over my other case fan. Lots of intake fans, which are definitely helping with the temperatures, obviously. And I also got the case window open, of course. But I'm sure even with the case closed, it's not going to be that much of a difference in temperatures because I got pretty good cooling, massive case. So low temperature 59C, 61C, okay. 443 watts, 2940 megahertz. Looks like it's leveling out around that speed. And so yeah, it looks like the GPU does pull a little bit less wattage compared to my 3090 Ti, which of course didn't have a higher power limit as this. This card has a 500 watt power limit, and I think with the raised power limit, I think it could get up to 600, I believe. And I'm not sure if that requires the actual newer power supplies or not. But error occurred. That's too bad. Oh well, I'll try lowering the overclock, and we'll try getting the actual score. Give me 1 minute. I loaded the core overclock down 10 megahertz. Now we're sitting at 2940 megahertz. So I'll see if this completes all the way, then we'll show you the score at the end. So stay tuned. So far, still stable. It's got past the point it did last time. So we're sitting at 2925 megahertz and pulling about 433 watts. And temperature 62C. And again, the card is as silent as can be. Nice looking card too. I mean, massive. It's like a brick. Literally. So it looks like a low temperature sitting at 62C. 439 watts, 433 watts. And it looks like we're just about gonna finish the test here, so we'll see the score live right in front of my screen. Okay, 27,279. Amazing. Okay, so that basically shows that, and then for gaming tests, I'm just going to show the the heavy hitters. So I'm going to do Cyberpunk 2077, I'll do Flight Simulator 2020, and then I'll try Dakar Rally, which is a newer game which just recently came out. So we'll do those gaming tests, and we'll take it from there. So, but overall, pretty solid for benchmarks, and then we'll do the gaming test, and then of course I'll show you all the frames per second, and maybe I'll do a voice overlay talking about my settings I use, so stay tuned.
Okay, currently in the system settings with Cyberpunk 2077, starting off resolution is 4K, 144 Hz display. DLSS, I have that quality. I will also test it with it completely off. And first we'll just do the benchmark to see where it sets that. So, film grain, chromatic aberration off because it doesn't look good at all. Everything is basically ultra high psycho settings. The only things I basically put on just a lower setting with is wall mount photo resolution and wall mount quality. I'll put those at highest level, what you're saying. All ray tracing settings are at the highest level, psycho ray tracing. And this is DLSS at quality. So from the benchmark. And then the i9 1200KS is at a 5.3 GHz all-core overclock. And I do have the Devour CPU latch, basically replacement kit, where basically you get lower temperatures with the Thermal Grizzly, I forgot what it's called, bracket or whatever it's called. Let's just see. 70, around 70 frames per second. Running about 405 watts. And I would agree that this is pulling less power, considering I have it at like a 500 watt power limit, and I think this card can pull up to 600 watts if you do enough overclocking and you actually use the actual dedicated newer power supply. But it looks like frames per second are very phenomenal. This is at quality DLS setting, and CPU is i9 1200KS at 32 gigabytes of DDR5 PC 6400 net memory. But yeah, very good frames per second. So next we'll try it with it off, and we'll see what difference it makes with it off. Okay, back in the options menu, DLSS is completely off. Still 4K resolution. All the graphics settings are the same it was before, Psycho ray tracing, and DLSS off. So let's see how it runs. I'm gonna assume it's gonna be around 40-50 frames per second. We'll see though. Of course, DLS 3 is going to be coming out when they release that, and in my way, I kind of think it's cheating. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a very smart technology, but you're adding trains that aren't really there, so I kind of, in some ways, I'm not totally for it, because it's basically kind of cheating in my book. If you kind of agree with me, let me know in the comments, but don't get me wrong, it's a great technology, and it's amazing that I came up with that idea. So, we'll see what that does in future gaming tests. I know in Flight Simulator 2020, it's getting like over 100 frames per second at 4K, which is amazing. So it looks like we're steady around 40 frames per second, 45 maybe. We'll see what the average is at the end, but it looks like it's playable. So next, I will also play the game with DLSS off, and then I will try it at the quality settings to see how it feels when playing the actual game. Because the benchmark is just so quick, it doesn't really give you an idea of real world gaming, how it is when you're actually playing the game. So I think you see a baseline. Looked like it pulled over 480 watts there, that little brief moment there.
Yes, every eddy.
So we'll see what the average frames per second. I'm gonna stay around 45, 46. We'll see. So average frames per second 41, max 58, low 30. Pretty decent. Okay, got the game running. This is for the DLSS off, 4K. I will briefly show you just to show you proof. So graphics resolution 4K. And I have HDR disabled because my video editing software gives me issues. So I want to use HDR, and also YouTube is also kind of weird when you're uploading HDR content. So everything is the same settings. It was cycle area tracing, everything exactly how it was before. So let's play the game and see how it feels. Let me use the controller just frames per second. I'll tell you what, there's no other part that I know that's going to run that kind of frames per second without the system. Very smooth, very playable. Looks like it dipped down to 35 this year, but very heavy on but still playable. Before, I think on my 3090 Ti Supreme X, we would run around like 20 or 25 frames, so this definitely is playable. This 4090 is definitely a monster. Okay, so next, let me put the DLSS at quality settings. So, quality, apply. So we're getting about 70 frames per second. Again, this is just a quick test. I don't want to like make the gaming test too long, because some people in my previous reviews, I review a lot of GPUs. So if you like seeing latest tech being revealed, please subscribe. But some people said that the gaming test they didn't even watch, so I'm just gonna keep this short to the point. So. Okay, very playable. So no doubt, definitely solid. So next we'll try Flight Simulator 2020. So stay tuned. Okay, currently running Flight Simulator 2020.
Request flight following.
And we'll show you the graphics settings. So running 4K resolution, anti-aliasing at TAA, DirectX 11, everything ultra settings, object level detail 200, terrain level detail 200. All of these I believe are already maxed out, so make sure. Yeah. And doing New York City, which is obviously very heavy on the graphics, so running at 40-50 frames per second. CPU running nice and cool.
Squawk Tree 756 Airbus Tree 20.
And I will definitely show the inside view a lot too, because that's really the most heavy on frames per second. But very solid frames per second so far, so very solid.
Roger, Airbus Tree 20.
Looks beautiful. Runs great. Looks beautiful.
New York, approach on 132.8. Good day.
Raise my altitude a little bit.
Going to 132.8 Airbus Tree 20. New York approach Airbus Alpha Sierra X-Ray Tree 20 800 feet.
But yeah, very solid. So 50 frames per second is just phenomenal for Flight Simulator 2020 at these settings, you know? Of course, when there's DLSS 3, which I already mentioned is cheating, but when they do have that, it's even going to be higher. It's going to be like 100 or over 100 frames per second, which is amazing. Smooth as can be, smooth sailing.
127.6 for Airbus Tree 20.
1,000.
Raise the throttle a little bit, and raise the
New York
nose.
approach Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray Tree 20
And then he built it.
1,200 feet.
I noticed when you fly over this area with this green, part it's called Manhattan Park, the park here, it really takes the frames per second because of all the trees and foliage and stuff. But look at that, it's very good frames per second. I wasn't even realizing I had my throttle out of the maps.
127.3 for Airbus
Very
Tree 20.
Okay, so next we'll try Dakar Rally, and then I don't know if they have DLSS 3 yet, but I will check, and we'll try that, and we'll see how it runs. But that's Flight Simulator 2020. Very smooth sailing. Impressive.
Dip
Currently
rocks
running
on the
Dakar
right.
Rally. This is a new game that just came out last week.
Keep
Basically
right,
have,
cap 3,
DLSS
bump, dip.
quality mode.
1 kilometer.
Briefly show the graphics setting. Okay, so 4K resolution. All these are set to the highest setting. DLSS at quality. NVIDIA Reflex enabled.
Forward on track. Stay on track. Bump.
I haven't really played this
1
game, so it's just,
kilometer. Prepare to turn right. Right on track. Twisty. 1 kilometer. Prepare to turn left. Left on track.
I've always liked dirt racing games. Like I was big in the
1 kilometer. Stay on track. Attention, danger 3. Stay on track. Danger 3. Bump. Ditch.
Things Subaru.
1 kilometer. Forward on track. Attention, danger 3. Bump.
Dip.
Dip.
I think it's like real racing. You know, it's just more raw, you know. Versus just going in a circle. This is so cool because it's just like you're everywhere. You're all over.
Keep straight on track. Danger 3. Bump. Dip. 1 kilometer. Keep
We're
left.
hitting about 100 frames per second.
Keep left. Cap. Keep left. Cap 350. Bump.
Control for this is a
2
little bit
kilometers.
crazy.
Prepare to turn right. Attention, danger 3. Narrow. Between trees. We're moving away from our bearing.
My first time flying, literally, all I did was do the tutorial and getting just started with frustration. Okay, so let's turn off DLSS and see how it runs. So graphics, DLSS off. And then we'll put the anti-aliasing at high. It's running better without the other stuff. Am I seeing things right here? It's 4K. DLSS off. That's insane. So I guess it's confirm. Maybe I didn't do confirm. Okay.
Right
so
on track. Danger 3. Narrow. 1 kilometer. Prepare to turn left. Attention. Danger 1. Rocks. Keep right. Cap 242. Rocks.
There are some stutters. So that's it. I just wanted to show you.
Forward on track. Stay on track. Danger 2. In overfigure. Water. 1 kilometer. Forward on track.
Closing thoughts in the car, and then we'll
Keep on traces. Leave track. Bump. Rocks.
Okay, so that wraps up all the gaming tests on this Asus Strix RTX 4090. Overall, I'll give it 5 out of 5 stars. I mean, there's really nothing bad I could say about it. Very good frames per second, no coil whine. Amazing technology. I mean, obviously DLSS 3, like I said, is kind of cheating, but it's going to be definitely a nice technology to have in future games. But definitely a solid card. Great GPU. It is pricey, $2,000, don't get me wrong. And then once maybe those new power supplies come out, I'm going to try to get a Seasonic 1300 watt platinum that has the new power connector that will just have that instead of just a nasty adapter. But solid card, Obviously, expensive GPU, don't get me wrong. And happy Micro Center had it, so big shout out to them. Basically, I was actually 8th in line, but I was picked randomly, and I was the second one inside to go inside to get it. So very happy with it and very solid culture. Thanks for watching. If you like what you're seeing, feel free to subscribe, and we'll take things from there. So I appreciate all the support. Thank you for everything you guys do in my videos and all the comments and support, and appreciate everything. Peace out and enjoy your day. The Asus Strix RTX 4090, very solid card. Very happy with it, and thanks for watching. Peace out.